But yeah, today is our enrollment and timetabling webinar for the year, for the autumn semester. I'm Sammy and this is Vivian.
Hello.
And everyone, and this is Lachlan.
A recording of this will be made available via the Student Centre webpage. There's a how-to videos YouTube page with a whole bunch of stuff. You can go to it now and there's old versions of this there already. But that'll be uploaded within a week or before session starts if you want to double check anything. But essentially the advice is similar, just maybe with a few different dates.
Yeah, and so we're from the Student Centre. We are usually located in building 10 level 2. You just walk inside and we can answer questions in person, or you can ask us questions online via the phone call and also online inquiry. Make an appointment in advance if you would like to skip the queue. Otherwise, there is a bit of a wait time at the moment. And then, yeah, just a note, this will be recorded and probably uploaded. And if you have any concerns with that, please email promotions@uts.edu.au. But yeah, you can have a quick read of the slide. And we'd also like to acknowledge the country, and I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, upon whose ancestral lands our city campus now stands. I'd like to pay respect to the elders both past and present, and acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of knowledge for this land that we're on today. And so these are the topics for today. We're going to talk about the key dates of things to just be aware of for the semester, offers, fees, the handbook, which shows you everything, all the information you need to know about your enrollment, and also your timetable, how to understand it, how to create it, and we'll do some question and answering at the end of this. Yeah, so I'll hand over to Vivian.
So key dates are the days that you should be aware of, you should pay attention to. For example, currently our enrollment and timetable selection is open. And then the next key date to remember is your session start dates for the majority of you guys. It will be the 17th of February, but it's based on the calendar that you follow for your specific course. The last day to enroll in subjects is the 3rd of March, which is a Monday. That's the last day that you can add a subject into your study plan for the upcoming session. The tuition fees are due on the 6th of March 2025, and the census date, which is the date that you can withdraw or change your study plan without any financial or academic liability, would be the 20th of March 2025. So you don't have to remember and memorize them. You can Google them, or you can scan the QR code to see the academic year days and the principal days with this QR code. Or if you just type UTS academic year days, you should be find the details of them as well. So they will also have a bit of explanation of what each date mean. Offers. So I assume whoever is here at the moment or have an offer or have accepted an offer or have maybe accepted more than one offer. Am I correct? No one's here, just randomly having a look. Yeah. So basically, to activate your account first, you have to go through a website called Start at UTS. There's a link at the bottom, at the top corner there. And you hit the blue button to start at UTS. Then it will ask you to log in with either your UTS student number or your UAC application number if you apply through UAC, or if you have received an early entry offer, you can use that number as well. If you're an international student, you have to click the link below. Another Start at UTS button.
Can everyone at home see the screen? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that.
And then the system will ask for an MFA, which stands for multi-factor authentication. How do you set this up? Basically, you need an app called Okta, and you need that app throughout your study here at UTS. If at any point that you have an issue with Okta app, contact our IT team on this number, or you can make an appointment or just grab a ticket from the ticket machine next to our student center in building 10. If you try to use it the first time, it will ask you to log in, and then it will kind of ask you to download the app from your App Store, Google Play Store. And then you add your account by choosing your organization, which would be UTS. And then it asks you to scan a QR code from the laptop screen. So when you see that you're successfully logged in, that means it's all set up. If you need any more help or you need more information about IT and something relevant to this, there is another Ready Set Ask UTS webinar or seminar like this happening on the 11th of February, 11:30 to 12:30. Some of you might already joined the morning session, and I hope it was useful. So every time you log into a UTS-based system, for example, my student admin or sometimes your student account, your student email, you need to kind of verify it through Okta app. Basically, once you click login, it will ask you to select on the app that it is you who's trying to act on it. So basically, just tap yes, it's me from your phone, and that's it. The reason why that we asked people to use the app is because if you ever have to change your phone or if you're going overseas, it's the app that kind of saves you time, not really like your phone number that is changing. So always use the app. After that, you are now in the process of accepting your offer. This can be done on your My Student Admin, which is the main system that you will use throughout your entire study. It's also called MSA. Once you log in, you'll see a few tabs on the top, and then one of them is offers. This is where you accept your offers. So if you click onto it, you'll see a few steps here. If you're a domestic student, there should be 6 steps. If you are an international student, there should be 5 steps. You click step 1, My Offer, Start, and then you should see the offers that you have received. You choose the one that you would like to continue, and then you just move on to the offer details and have a look at it. So here you have the option to choose either defer or accept. If you plan to take a bit of leave before you actually start uni, you have the option to defer. The last day to defer would be the 26th of February on Wednesday, but not all the courses can be deferred. So you have to check if your course is eligible to defer. If you like to defer, you have to defer for a whole year, not just one session. So if you're saying, my course starting in autumn, but I would like to start in spring instead, that's not really an option. You have to go for the next year. And also, your offer for a course commencing in autumn session might be eligible to defer. So if you're not sure, always check UTS deferral to see if your course is eligible to defer. As I mentioned before, some of you might be lucky enough to receive more than just one offer, but 2 or 3. And you might be very excited to just accept them all. But there might be an issue. You can only do one course at a time. You can't do 2 courses together. So sometimes if you call us and we might tell you, well, it looks like you've got 2 courses happening at the same time, that means you have to withdraw one offer from the whole list so that you only remain enrolled for one course only. So if you have accepted multiple offers, you have to withdraw from one. And to do that, you use another system which is called My Student Portal. On that system, you will see 2 options, e-request or Ask UTS. If we're talking about withdrawing from an offer, that will be under the e-request section. If you go to that, it will first ask you to log in, and then you will see a few options under e-request. To withdraw from the offer, You want to select I want to withdraw, and then I want to withdraw from my course. And then you just fill up the form and submit the form. This is very different to when you're actually in the course, but you're selecting your subjects and you don't want to do this particular subject or you swap your plan. It's different. If you want to withdraw from your subject, that would be under My Student Admin. We'll cover what to do with subject selection or enrollment in a second.
All right, so the next part is looking at the fees. Also, for anyone at home, we are answering questions online from the back end. So just keep asking your questions by messaging. And yeah, so the next step after you accept your offer and you confirm all your contact and personal details is looking at the government assistance form. So you will click on government forms at the top, and then you will create a new ECAF form. Everyone has to do this. You just fill out the form there and then you complete it. And yeah, to just check if it's all correct, first you log into My Student Admin, go to the government forms and check the status. It should say approved if it's all good. If it says invalid or anything else, just fill out a new form. We only take the most recent form. And so this is how you do that. And then also in regards to fees, you can use our tuition fees search bar. The different types of fees are shown on there, whether you're domestic, international, undergraduate, postgraduate. It's all shown on the webpage per subject and per degree. And you can use that. The QR code is there. And also, yeah, to defer your fees as a domestic student, you would fill out the HEX help loan form. And you can also request a loan for the student services amenities fee. And so that's about a $170, I think, $5 fee that you pay just for like services at the university, like Wi-Fi. There's a counseling clinic, like lots of things around here, and you can defer that fee as a domestic student as well. And you would fill out the SA help loan to do that. Okay, so the next topic is the UTS handbook. This is really important for enrollment, and yeah, you'll use it throughout your entire degree, and all of you, assuming you're new students, will begin in the 2025 handbook. Okay. So we're just going to put up a little demo on the board so you can see how to navigate it, because sometimes it can be difficult to navigate for your first time. We're going to give a demo for the business one. If you look at, all right, we'll use the one on the screen. The one on the screen, it shows for the Bachelor of Business. It will show an overview, it will show general information about the degree, notes when the degree is offered, and then also really important is they'll have different parts of the components of the degree. So like for business, everybody will do these core subjects, and then you can select your own major, and you can select your own sub-major and options and electives. And so this handbook shows the different ways that you can personalize the degree based on what is offered and what it's supposed to be. And also, so you can see that in the structure, and there's also a study plan. And it's really important that you do use your study plan, because it'll make sure that you complete your degree in the amount of time that it is being advertised. If you do less than full-time study, you'll have to change the study plan, and you might have some issues being able to enroll into subjects in the future of your degree, like second or third year. But here, if we click on study plans, it shows on the left-hand side. And here for the business, you can choose depending on the major. This is what it'll look like, for example, for year one. So for a first year in autumn this year, you would enroll into these 4 subjects that it shows. And in second semester, so in the spring session for the first year, you'd roll into these ones. If you're in person, you can see the scrolling, you can see the different years and the different subjects that it recommends. And this makes sure that you complete the degree within the advertised amount of time. Yeah, we're going to do a little quick quiz. So where do I find my study plan? Is it A, in the handbook, B, in My Student Admin, or C, start at UTS? So if you think it's A, in the handbook, put your hand up. Cool. If it's B, My Student Admin, put your hand up. And if it's C, start at UTS, put your hand up. Okay, so the majority of you got it right. It is the UTS handbook. Yeah. Very good. So the next topic we'll talk about is the recognition of prior learning. So did anyone here study at a university or UTS college beforehand? Yeah, so there's definitely people in the room. Recognition of prior learning is, what is it? It's for previous studies that you've completed to be asked to be credited towards your UTS degree. So that could be anything you did in another university or UTS college or work experience, anything like that. And it's a formal application process. And you need to submit it during your first year, first semester. So I'd recommend you do it as soon as possible if this applies to you. And where is it? How do I submit it? First, you'll Google UTS RPL or recognition of prior learning. And then it comes up with a really detailed page with step-by-step instructions on what to do. But pretty much you fill out the application for recognition prior learning form and you match up the subjects that you want credited. And then you submit it as an Ask UTS inquiry in the UTS student portal. And then you'll attach the form, official transcripts, and your subject outlines. And then, yeah, so you'll assess this request and hopefully you get the credit. If not, we'll let you know the reasons, but while you wait, you will enroll into the subjects as per the handbook. So the study plan that I would have just shown you as an example for business, but you would apply the same tools of like scrolling through it and understanding it towards whatever degree that you've been offered and chosen to study. And then, yes, as a full-time student, that means studying between 18 and 24 credit points per semester if you're a domestic student. If you're an international student, it requires you to do 24 credit points per semester. And then anything under 18 credit points every half year would be considered part-time study. And then, yeah, so the first half of the year is considered the beginning of January to the end of June, and then second half is beginning of July until the end of December. And then part-time study is usually offered more to domestic students. As an international student, I don't think you can under your visa, but you can request special permission if need be. And there's no minimum number of credit points as a domestic student, but if you're going to take a break, you need to apply for a leave of absence. And you first need to study some subjects to be able to do that. Yeah, if you'd like to enroll in more than 24 credit points per semester, you need to submit an e-request to ask for permission. And yeah, study load can change and can impact things like your scholarship. You may need to be full-time if you have a scholarship. Centrelink payments, you need to be enrolled full-time as well. The Opal card for domestic students, also full-time study. And then study duration, yes, would be extended if you study anything less than 24 credit points per semester. And it may also impact your student visa as an international student. And now we're going to talk about enrollment.
So now that you have had a look at the handbook, you know what subjects you're supposed to enroll, it's time to actually put the subjects to your enrollment. To do that, if you're still at the offer acceptance stage, it will be on stage 4. So you can do that by click enrolling subjects, or you can do it from the subject tab as well. And once you open that page, it should look something like this. So a very easy rule to tell that something is available and ready to be enrolled is they will be in a color of blue, like this. Because you need to follow your handbook for each semester to enroll. You just have to find the particular subject for each session. Sometimes you do have to add the choice block or a major choice or whatever stream that is asked for onto your study plan. So you have to find where it's located. For example, if at one stage you have to choose a major for the business degree, it will be under this choice block. It's now empty because you haven't really chosen the major yet. So you have to choose, and then it will open up a page where you are asked to add one of the majors to your study plan. And once you have found the ones that you want to study, click on the drop-down button, and you'll see which session this particular subject is running. For example, Accounting Business Society is running for autumn and spring. And if you're enrolling for autumn session, you have to choose the autumn session option. If you have been approved for RPL, recognition prior learning, or if you came from, for example, UTS college, you might have a few subjects that says exempt, or advanced standing. So that's more like a case-by-case basis. But for everyone else, you will have to start from the year one handbook. And once you have located all these subjects, you take the enroll on the right-hand corner and make sure you have selected to the correct session. And you hit this button here, enroll. It will ask you to confirm and you're done. If at one point you can't find the subjects that you're looking for, or if you have trouble understanding what each term means, you can ask us by contacting us DTS. So you can call us, you can book an appointment at the counter, or you can send us an online inquiry and we'll have a look for you. We have mentioned this earlier with the offer. So subject withdrawal means you don't want to study this subject anymore. You have the chance to just remove it off your study plan. It's very similar to enrolling. Basically, you select withdraw subjects. You take the one that you don't want to do anymore, and you continue withdraw. This just means you have removed the subject off your study plan. So one of the important days is the census day, which is the day that is the last day that you can finalize your study plan without any academic or financial penalties. So if you want to do that after census date, the system won't allow you to self-unenroll or self-do the subject withdrawal. So if you're still changing your enrollment, please finalize it before census day. Sometimes it's not always a smooth sailing when it comes to enrollment. Some of the common issues that students face would be they don't meet the prerequisite, or the subjects that want to study is not available, and sometimes it's full. So then you will see the requisite information or a little message here that will tell you why. For example, this particular example we have here, engineering project management, it has a prerequisite of engineering practice review 1 or something else. So if you haven't finalized that subject beforehand, the system won't allow you to self-enroll into the subject. Sometimes it will show a message that says unavailable, and that means either the subject is full, or sometimes, as the example to the right, the subject may not be running for a particular session. For example, the privacy preserving subject, if you're trying to choose it as an autumn subject, you won't be able to because it's only running for spring. And what do we do? It can be a tricky situation sometimes. So this is a very simple diagram just to show you where to go as a first solution. I'm following the handbook, but the subjects I want to enroll is full. Unfortunately, this happens sometimes. So the first question that we ask, or you can ask yourself is it a core subject? A core subject means it's a compulsory subject you have to study at one point of your study. If the answer is yes, then the solution is to submit an e-request. We'll talk more about e-requests later. If it's a no, that means you don't have to study that subject. It's an option, meaning that it's either elective or it could be one of the options under your study plan. Can you enroll into any other subjects? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, please choose another subject. If the answer is no, it goes to e-request again. Quick quiz. How do I check if a subject is full? Handbook, requisite information, or unavailable? Who thinks it's A, B, or C? Thank you. Unavailable, that's the answer. And timetabling. So if you are lucky enough, you have finalized your enrollment without any issues, the next step would be to choose the timetable for your classes. two methods. One, you can do that straight at my student admin, just under the withdraw subject button. There's a class timetable and there will be a button that directs you to my timetable page. Or you can just Google UTS website, UTS My Timetable, which in our case, we'll have to use the 2025 timetable because we're enrolling for the 2025 sessions and planning for that session as well. So this is what looks like on my timetable page. On the left-hand side, you should see the subject that you have enrolled. For example, in this case, we have 3 subjects here. And you also see some signs next to each of the sessions you need to choose from. If it's a green tick, that means you're all set. It's either you are automatically allocated to that session or you don't have to worry about it. If it's a red exclamation mark, you might have to do something about it, which also means you're not allocated yet. This will also tell you what is happening overall with your timetable. So the title here is the subject and the subject code, as well as which session it is running. And then the little mark here next to the triangle is the type of activities under this subject. So some subjects have one activity only and some would have a few. And this is just to show you like what each abbreviation means. For example, if you have a lecture under your subject, it will show something like LEC. If it's a tutorial, that would be TUT. Okay, now because you want to allocate yourself, you click onto the activity type, and this is the page that you will see. It will be different across the subjects, but pretty much this is probably what happens. So you might see a few options to select, and then you might see some classes that are already full. So if it's a full subject, you won't be able to select it. If it's still available to choose from, you'll be able to select it. And once you have selected a session, you'll see that it will show as allocated next to the times and days. If, for example, you're interested in this session, which is full, but you can only get allocated into this session because there's space in there, but still you want maybe a chance to join in that session, you can hard react to the particular time here. And once it becomes available, you get in automatically. So it also depends on the type of activity as well. Some subjects you won't be able to hard react to it. Some of them you can. And once it's all finalized, you'll be able to view it as an overview of what it looks like by clicking on the timetable button here. It will also show you what days these sessions are running and how it would look like overall. You can choose either as a calendar view or a list view. This is something that I just mentioned, waitlist. So you have allocated to an activity first to be waitlisted for other classes. So you have to allocate yourself to one of the classes first. If a spot becomes available in that activity, you'll be automatically moved to the hard reacted waitlisted activity. And if you don't want to do the session that you are allocated in, you can also use the deallocation function, which is the rubbish bin icon, to remove yourself from that activity. Sometimes you might run into timetable issues as well. So similar to the enrollment issues, sometimes the classes are full, sometimes the classes clash each other. If it's a core subject, you have to do an e-request to be put into a class if you're following the recommended subject sequence from the handbook. And that's also why it's important to follow your course progression on the handbook. If it's an elective, most likely you will find an alternative subject or you just have to waitlist it. And if your timetable clashes, it depends on the situation as well. You might have to end up choosing another time, or none of the options work, probably e-request. But sometimes we get asked about work commitments or like preferences, as in I don't want to come to uni, for example, 4 days a week. And usually they're not considered grounds for timetable clash. So that's just something that you kind of have to plan ahead and think about before you raise any issues. You can also search for a class or search for a subject using the search bar function here. It will just show you what the timetable or what sessions they're running. So overall, enrollment and timetabling. Still experiencing any issues? No available classes? Accidentally chose the wrong major? Can't get rid of it? Subjects that not let me enroll? Timetable still clashes? The ultimate solutions, e-request, or contact your subject coordinator or faculty, or contact us for assistance and advice. Quick quiz. What is the last day to enroll for autumn? To do that, you might have to Google UTS principal date or UTS key date. Or you can just Google last day to enroll UTS autumn 2025. And the answer is actually B, the 3rd of March. So that's the last day that you can actually add another subject into your study plan. All right, I'm gonna pass it to Sammy for e-request.
Hello again. Okay, so we have two different types of requests that is sent to the Student Center via email. One is an e-request and one is an Ask UTS request. E-requests are usually if you're trying to change something about your enrollment and you get to My Student Admin and it's not working, you can't do what you want to do, e-request is the way to go. Because it's something, when you can't self-enroll into something, they'll help you via e-request. So how you get to the page is first you'll Google UTS student portal, like you see over here, and then you'll click on the first web page and then you'll log in as a current student. And it should take you in very fast, and then it looks like this. So you'll click on Ask UTS or e-request, and then you'll click on Submit an e-request, study plan changes. And these are the different options that it shows. So on the left, it has stuff about enrolling. So for example, how to enroll in a full subject. In the middle, it's when you're asking for a change in your study plans, like you're studying business and you chose that you wanted to do an accounting major and now you want to do a finance major and you can't change it yourself in My Student Admin, you'll submit this type of e-request. We have timetable changes, so all the classes are full, but you're enrolled, but you can't get into a class. You'll submit one under here, and then we have ones about withdrawing. And you'll go through here, you'll put in your course name, so like Bachelor of Business, the subject, the session, you'll put whether it's a core or elective, and you'll tick these boxes and submit your statement with a screenshot from My Student Admin to help us understand. But if it is a core subject, it's more likely we'll be able to help you. If you're trying to enroll into like an elective that's full, you'll probably need to just choose a different elective. And so this is the other option. It's submitting, we'll ask questions at the end. But this type is submitting an Ask UTS inquiry, and this is more for just general inquiries or any question you may have about your studies or time at UTS. So you'll go on the left, you'll click on Ask UTS or e-request, you'll click on Ask UTS, the black button on the left instead, and then we have these other types of categories. So these are just for general inquiries, or if you need to submit a form, if you need to change courses, like you do it through Ask UTS. And it looks quite similar. You fill out the inquiry, say you're in Australia, upload a file if you need. And what happens next is if you need, while you wait for a response, they can sometimes take, Ask UTS inquiries can be faster, they can take 1 to 2 weeks, whereas e-requests might take longer, like 3 to 6 weeks. But yes, it's good to add a comment if anything changes or you need to tell us anything. Check your student emails for a reply. It will not go to your personal email, it's going to go to your student email. Reply to the email if you need further clarification. Sometimes they might reply requesting another reply back to that. And if you have a completely different question, submit a new Ask UTS request. And you can download the Outlook app on your phone to access your emails easily as well. And yeah, this is more details about the Student Center. We're available on the phone from 10 to 4 p.m. Just call 1-300-ASK-UTS, or you can visit us in person by making an appointment, or you can submit an Ask UTS email to contact us. Yeah, so now we're going to have Q&A. Again, if you're on Zoom, you can ask questions by typing them in the question box and people are responding to you. But if you're in person, put your hand up if you have a question.
Hi, I'm Lachlan. I'm going to run around for anyone who wants a
Put your
question.
hand up high so we can see you. You can ask any question that you'd like.
As far away as we possibly can. Here we go.
Where do we pay the student amenities and how often is this fee paid?
So that fee is once per semester. It's paid. So in my student admin, there'll be a button that says generate an invoice, and you can generate your invoice to get that fee. And then on the second page of that, it tells instructions about how to pay. It's like if you're an international student and want to pay from an international bank account, you can use Flywire. If you're from Australia or paying from an Australian bank account, you can use BPay or pay at the post office. But yeah, this is more.
It is a common question. Just remember to scroll down so you can see how to pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Next, I had someone else.
So I just was thinking about my question. So if someone has been enrolled for the, let's say for in autumn, but I want to enroll for spring, but it's not up, like I could, because I did it with careers advisor in high school, she helped me and create a full eight subject for timetable enrollment. I chose 4 for autumn and it's only 4 for spring, but I only could able to choose the subject, but not the time allocation. Oh yeah, but it's just not the time classes allocation, but subject has been chosen only the classes.
There are 2 steps to being in a subject. One is enrolling in the subject itself, then you go to a different place to actually allocate to the classes. It is a bit confusing. You should be able to enroll for the whole year, but you can only allocate to classes for autumn session at this stage. And you'll get some communications around about April, which will say, okay, the second half of the year is opening up. That's the time to go in and check what's available, make sure you know what all classes you want. And on the day it opens, pow, get in there and get the classes you want. They do fill up quickly. And yes, we do get phone calls, people saying, how can it possibly fill up in 15 minutes? They do. So get in, plan early.
Sorry, I was just wondering in regards to like scheduling classes. Are we able to schedule classes in a way that, yes, they do clash, but say for example, one is a like an in-person class and the other one is like an online live recorded activity?
I think they have enabled that you can enroll in an online class and an in-person class. That means, though, that you'll have to make sure that you schedule a time to go and look at that recorded session. If it's not, what's online recorded? OLR?
OLR.
Yeah. If it's not OLR, it won't be recorded anywhere, but I think most of them are these days. So the difference would be if it's an online class only and not recorded, and it's on the same time as something else, you've got to manage that. You'll need to manage that yourself. Unfortunately, with 40,000 students, sometimes it happens. But we do treat you as adults, and our time management is part of being at university, sort of an unwritten law. But no, that's a good question, and you should be able to enroll in both of those. Just manage when you can actually get to it. Good question. Yes.
Do we have to enroll for the spring session right now, or we can do it later as well?
I would enroll right now. Classes are filling up. Some are full already. Yeah. enroll right now for spring classes. Don't wait. One of the most common questions we answer in orientation for spring session is, enrolment has been open for 6 months. It's now the day before classes. Why are you worrying about it now? Yep, so straight away. Good question, good question.
So I've enrolled in one subject and that subject has lecturer and tutor. So I got classes for lecturer, but not for tutor. So that subject is like not completely allocated. So what to do in that case?
Is that because they are full, or is that because it's not available to you? They're full and not available. Okay, so number one, as you get closer to session, quite often, if they are all full, you're probably not alone, and classes will open up as you get closer to session. If it's getting really close to session and you're worried, contact the student centre first thing in the morning, 10 o'clock, and ask us what's going on. We can double check for you. But you don't have to come. You can call us or book an appointment. The fastest way to see us is to book an appointment on a day that suits you, and you'll be seen within 10 minutes or so. On the phone and just walking into the student centre is a bit of a wait. Okay, thank you. Good question as well. Next one. Oh, we got over here again. Oh, good.
So just last question, because for the student who doing in double degree, I heard that for the student who's doing international studies, like you are able to do as a combined degree, but like the other degree, I'm not sure. Like when you actually able to start study, like this, I heard like second year or third year when you're doing your main single degree doing.
In the handbook for double degrees, there's usually a study program for the single degree, and then how you should enroll session by session for the double degree. So that should answer your question about when you do this course and subjects from the other course. If that's not there, that's a specific question to you. Come to the student centre and we can actually help you work it out. Was that a good answer? I hope so. Yep. Was there one more over here? Yep. You want to wander over with that?
Yeah, I wonder.
I just had a question about how you get to the study plan, like the recommendation of what you should do each session again.
What's your degree?
Science.
We'll go through like a little demo again, maybe. Yeah. So
Just make sure you
first, what
share
you'll
the screen,
do,
but-
whatever degree you have.
Right? You can't share?
Yeah, but if they're on Zoom, they can't see my computer.
That's no good.
Sorry, this is only an
I can give a
in-person-
verbal answer for the time being. If you go to the student handbook, if you're starting in 2025, I'll say this, I don't know if you've mentioned it already, always use the 2025 handbook. Even if your degree takes 6 years, you are still using the 2025 handbook because that's when you started. Go to that handbook, go to the course that you're actually enrolled in, and follow the study plan for that course. You should have a number of sessions down the left-hand side on one of the screens, and it will say autumn, spring for 2025 or first year, and then autumn and spring for the following year. Every now and again, it'll have some strange sessions like autumn A or autumn B, or a strange something called a September session or something. Ignore what the session is called, just enroll in that particular subject for that particular time. And those sessions should be available in the drop-down for the subject in question. Did I get that right?
So taking your particular degree as example, so for example, this is the course page, Bachelor of Science. And then on the left-hand side, you see study plan tab, which is also at the bottom of the page. And then depending on your major, for example, you're doing chemistry. And basically it's all listed as in which one that you should be studying at which point. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I'm sorry if you people at home couldn't see that.
Hello.
So I'm from the engineering background. And what if subjects are not available according to the study plan?
If there's a subject on the handbook in the study plan that isn't there for a particular session, have a look. It might be available for the next session. The university has 4,000 subjects it's doing, and sometimes the faculties get it wrong or they've posted it the wrong way. And what they may have done is inadvertently switched one autumn and spring. If you can't see a subject, and I say this sort of loosely because it depends on every course, if you can't see a subject to bring forward and try and do in autumn and then do the other one in spring, come to the Student Centre and we'll give you the best advice on what to do there. In any case, the advice I give people who see that there aren't subjects available is to have a look at the prerequisites for all of the subjects, write it out on a bit of paper or Excel spreadsheet or whatever it might be, and see if it all works out, working through to the end of the course. And if it all works out in your spreadsheet, then it's going to work. Yeah, but sometimes you have to switch them over. Good question. One more.
So I have an engineering review one subject that has to be enrolled for the first semester. Do you have any idea about that?
I got half an answer to this in my session this morning. Engineering review subject is a subject that you need to contact your subject coordinator right at the beginning of the session, and they will help you enroll in a related subject. Oh, you've got it up on the screen there. Engineering review subject. What can they search to find that engineering review subject?
You just search engineering review subject,
that's easy.
UTS. But yeah, there's specific instructions if you have a look at the enrollment procedure, but that will help you. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I didn't know there was a page. Thank you. Good question. We got another one? Or can I do the close one first? Is that all right? Save my legs.
I'm trying to choose my electives, but it's not coming up with the option to actually choose it. And I sent in an e-request about changing it to the 8 credit point and 6 credit point list, but it's just not coming up to like choose the elective.
So there's no choose option under the electives. Can you guys answer or help with that one? Yes, with electives, you normally have to actually hit the choose and then go through a list of subjects. But in this particular case, there's no choose button under the electives. Yeah. That might be a specific one to come to the Student Centre for. That's quite complicated. Yes, at UTS, most subjects are 6 credit points, but some are 8. And in weird cases, some are 2 or 4. But that's a specific question there.
So we have to enroll full year courses, but for the spring semester, are we allowed to add extra course or like overloading or just like a switch to a different one if we don't like it? So what's the deadline for making these changes? Is it before August or March 3rd? For the
I don't know specific dates, but Sammy or Vivian may be able to help out here. Enroll in your subjects for all the year. Spring session subjects have their own set of dates. Sorry, autumn session subjects have their set of dates. The last day to enroll for autumn is?
Autumn's the 3rd of March.
3rd of March, but for spring session it is around about the August time to change your enrolments, etc. Just be aware if you have enrolled in some subjects, that's great, you've got yourself a spot. But if you need to, oh, it's up on the screen here. But if you need to make changes, you may find that some subjects are full. So try and get those decisions made really early. And there is a different date for last day to enroll. And then the last day to withdraw is usually a week or so afterwards. And that's census date, which isn't actually up there. But last day to enroll is the most important one to get sorted.
It's the 20th of March.
20th of March for autumn. And for spring, it's later,
End of
a lot later. Yeah, plenty of time to look up our website here. Next question. We're going over here again. I'll grab the close one first.
I don't know if this is outside of the scope of this webinar, but I've got these transdisciplinary subjects, and I'm supposed to be enrolled in spring. And I try to enroll, but it says I need a certain amount of credits that I don't have for any of them. So
my My initial thought with transdisciplinary subjects is that they run in the off sessions in the. They might run, but they might run in. Okay, so I thought they might run between autumn and spring, but it sounds like they might also run in the autumn and spring. If it does have a minimum credit point limit, it may mean that you have to wait for that. Your first year subject now, and how many? What's the minimum? 36, which sounds really, really strange because you can't actually study 36. I would be coming to the student centre and or going straight in with an e-request on that one, because if it just does not make sense, again, it could be one of those glitches or mistakes that a faculty has made.
It also depends on like if that subject is on your study plan for the first year. If it's on your first year study plan, then that's something that we can have a look into. If it's not, then that means you probably have to study it somewhere later stage of your course. So yeah, it really depends on how your study plan is looking. Yeah.
So just to confirm, last question with my current situation is, I'm doing the double degree, but the single degree, I'm out of how I can check if I got a major or not, like major in something.
In my student admin, there's a lot of different colors, and if you scroll down, make sure you see all of your course. Check if you've got a major option section, that will tell you if you have the option for a major. If you don't, the course is pretty much set and you might just have a few electives or something like that. Just make sure you go and the term we use is expand each section to see what you have to actually go into. Next question.
If you accepted the double degree with the international studies, do you have the option to drop the international studies component of the degree?
I believe so. Sammy, dropping the international studies part of a degree?
Yeah. So we have different dates for course transfers. So you need to pay attention to the dates on this webpage we're about to show. But yes, you can just submit a course transfer continuing application with us during the relevant dates. And
you can just search what UTS course transfers, and that will give you all that information. You can deep dive into that. And another question?
Also, I saw online that there's an honours version of the international studies component with my degree, but it looked like it was shorter. It was 5 years instead of 6 degrees. I'm just wondering if that's a thing.
Is that a thing or is it a mistake? I actually don't know about the honours international.
Is that international honors? And what's your degree that you are enrolled in?
Construction management and international studies. If we can't find the answer immediately here, again, Student Centre, we can actually find out. We'll just show them where you found it, and we can actually go through and actually look in detail how that actually works itself out. 6 years full time. Okay, yeah. So on that landing page for the course itself. Yeah. Okay, it may have been updated. Our handbook has gone through a bunch of changes just recently. So yeah, they keep reiterating because there are so many courses and subjects going on. How are we doing for time?
7 more minutes.
Brilliant. 7 more questions maybe? One just here.
Yeah, can we change our major after like 1 semester? And in that case, like in the first semester, we have selected enroll in some subject and we've done some that. And will we be able to carry forward the grade point in case that subject is overlapping in both the majors?
If you have selected a major, and I've got a few scenarios here. If you've selected a major and not studied anything in it yet, sometimes the Student Centre can reset it for you so you can choose another one. Sometimes we can't because faculties have ultimate control and you would need to submit an e-request, even if you haven't studied anything, to roll it back and choose another one. If you've selected a major and already studied a subject, that is definitely going to be an e-request to change the major, and one of 2 or 3 things can happen. Number 1, they can say no. Number 2, they can pull it back, and if the new major includes the subject you've already done, yes, you will get credited. And number 3, if you want to do a new major, but the subject you've done doesn't sit anywhere, it doesn't get counted anymore. It just sits off to the side of your degree saying, hey, you're really cool, you did an extra subject, but it doesn't get credited anywhere. So they're your options. So try and choose carefully, but there are ways around that if you really need to via e-request. Did I get that one right?
That's the page that I put up as well.
Oh, and up on the, and there's a bit of information on the screen there. Oh, a couple more over here.
For the timetable, I saw that on the screen there was around like 8 to 9 class blocks, but when I was doing my enrollment, I had about 6, and my friend here had 5 per week. So I was wondering what should be the average.
I think it really depends on like how the faculty is managing that particular subject. There's no like average in general, because if a subject, for example, is a first year kind of like a foundation subject, then we kind of expect to have the subjects running for quite a few sessions, just because they would expect like a large number of students enrolling in this subject at the same time. Whereas if it's just like one of the subjects within a particular major at one point, then it's probably only like 2 or 3 sessions or even 1, depending on the number as well. With that being said, say if you're enrolled, the faculty would kind of be notified as in how many people they're expecting, and they might change like the classes accordingly. So it's always good that you finalize your enrollment early, and then you can wait list the sessions that you want to be in, so that they can kind of take that into consideration as well.
That's a good question. That's a good point about the waitlisting. In the online questions, we had a number of questions. People saying, if I don't get this subject on my wait list, what do I do? From Monday next week, if you're on a wait list and nothing has happened yet, I would start concocting a plan B. What's going to happen if you don't get that class? There's no guarantee of getting into those classes. Think about your plan B. Something I do say to students quite often is, if your timetable, if you're enrolled full-time and you've got your timetable all green and you've got some preferred subjects or what have you, go with the all green. You're actually well off because you haven't got any clashes and you've got everything sorted. Yeah, don't count on those waitlisted subjects. Next one.
If you're doing a degree like international studies, do you have to choose honours before you start your degree, or are you able to add that on at the end?
I think that we have to have a look at the study plan, like at what point do you have to choose something from that particular stream or choice block?
I think it depends on the person, the degree, but either you'll have to reapply through UAC and get credit, or you would do an internal course transfer. I think they've also...
Sorry, the international study honors, I think that's just an option, like in the end, whether you're choosing to like having exchange overseas for like, I think a year, is that the option that you're looking at? Yeah. Yeah, so in that case, that just depends on like which option you choose in the end. Yeah.
Last question.
When I made my timetable, what I did. I didn't follow one subject exactly how the handbook was. I did the spring one with the autumn one. That doesn't matter that much, or it's a core subject.
If you've inadvertently enrolled in a spring subject in autumn, I would have a look at what the study plan says to see what you're going to enroll in spring that was from autumn. Sometimes you can't actually do that, and sometimes that can actually delay your whole finishing of your course by, wait for it, 6 months or a year. So I would mention sort of spelling it out on a spreadsheet somewhere. If it's really the way you want to do it, put it out on the spreadsheet, make sure all the prerequisites are met to get through. Otherwise, go back and follow that handbook to the letter. That will be the most efficient way through the course. But yeah, no, you're not alone. Sometimes people, they see the subject and they click the wrong version of it. But yeah, try and get that right. Because the timing was better for you. You've got to weigh that up. It might be better this session, but waiting 6 months or a year down the track might be a bit worse in the long run. So just keep those things in mind. Unfortunately, we can't see the timetable for the next 4 years. We only go 6 months to 12 months ahead. Good question, thank you. We're pretty much wrapping up now, I'm guessing. thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much for everyone at home as well. Double check, we've got our student centre details we can put up on the screen again. We're open all year except between Christmas and New Year. Come and visit us. Make an appointment at the student centre to see us face to face. That's the fastest way to see us. Otherwise, you can call us or send us an Ask UTS inquiry. I would steer away from the Ask UTS inquiry at this stage unless you've been specifically advised to do it. There is a bit of a wait there. The visiting us and calling us, you'll be able to speak to us same day. The Ask UTS will take a week to get back to you. It's really busy at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you.